Halloween is really a special time, isn't it?
I can't believe that there's a nightmare on my street.
Halloween in the 70s and 80s was a magical night for kids. It was a mix of imagination, independence, and community. It was a time when we were free to roam and create and just enjoy being kids. The Halloween I see today has some similarities, but lots of differences. Let's take a look back into how Gen X celebrated Halloween. It was always so much fun watching Halloween episodes of our favorite TV programs.
Trick or treat! And you can forget about the candy. We're here for your daughters.
You must be
Dr. Frankenstein.
Oh, thanks. I could use an extra hand around the place.
We couldn't stream or watch TVs whenever we wanted like today, which I think made the shows more special. And you typically watch TV with the family all together.
Happy Halloween from Growing Pains!
And it was always so exciting when It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown came on every year. Mr. Boogedy is a 1986 family short film that was developed as a television pilot and aired as an episode of the Disney Sunday Night Movie. Now, Disney Sunday Night Movies were a big deal.
Boogity! 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 Boo!
But Mr. Boogedy was no joke to little kids. The cast is very interesting. Gomez Addams of the Addams Family is sort of like a narrator. He's a character who explains the legend of Mr. Boogedy. The father is David Kane from One Day at a Time. The mother is Abby O'Neill from Dharma and Greg. The daughter is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The middle son is Bud Bundy, and the youngest is Brian Tanner from Alf.
Boogity! 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 Boogity!
One of my absolute favorite movies to watch in October was always The Worst Witch, which also debuted in 1986. Whenever I first saw Harry Potter, I immediately thought of this movie and can't help but wonder if this book or movie somehow inspired JK. There are just so many parallels. If you've seen this movie, what do you think?
When I say faster, I order disaster.
Mildred Hubble is played by a fellow Gen Xer, Fairuza Balk. We also have Mrs. Garrett, or Charlotte Ray, who plays dual roles as Miss Cackle and her twin sister Agatha.
So if you're filthy, smelly, evil, wicked, and cruel.
The only male role in the movie is the Grand Wizard, and all of the teachers and students seem to be madly in love with him. Who is this idol, you say? Oh, it's just Tim Curry in a massive cape, a bat bow tie, looking for his tambourine. Tim performs a perfectly 80s music video that has to be the most random scene with the use of the most special effects in television and film history. I had to look up who the mastermind was behind this artistry. And surprisingly, Tom McCarroll, who is credited as special visual effects, never worked on another movie. And I'm not sure why, because this scene is pure cinematic gold. If you have not watched this as an adult, I encourage you to do so. You can thank me later.
Every day's an uphill fight.
Of course, there were carved pumpkins. These melted popcorn plastic decorations were very popular, starting from probably around the mid-50s, and they were still running strong in the late 70s and 80s. It was hard to resist touching these decorations, but after I did, I immediately regretted it. They felt so prickly and the texture was not the least bit satisfying. Pumpkin leaf bags were easy decorations, and nobody could get enough of the lighted plastic blow mold decorations. Window clings were popular, as well as decorations that utilized tissue paper, but the most widely seen decorations for me would have to be the Halloween die cuts. People would tape them on their front doors and windows. Teachers used them all over the classrooms. They were everywhere. And the ones we had held up really well for some reason. But you just didn't see the massive light displays, the animatronics, and 12-foot skeletons like you do now. I can't talk about Halloween in the 80s without giving McDonald's a shout out. McDonald's has always participated in Halloween fun.
It's cool this year in Halloween costumes.
Madonna, Chuck Norris, Minnie Mouse.
Yeah, why are monsters cool?
They got blood running down their face and everything.
With no Spirit Halloween, Halloween Express, or specialty costume stores, our costume options were much different than what they are now. There was always that one mom who was Pinteresting long before Pinterest. Hand-me-down costumes were very common between friends and family. Many kids or moms at the last minute would cut 2 holes in a sheet and boom, a ghost. It was never about perfection like it seems to be now. It was more about imagination. I know I put lots and lots of thought into what I wanted to be each Halloween, and only one man could make those dreams come true, and that man was Ben Cooper. Cooper could transform all of us into whatever we wanted to be with only a stiff vinyl smock and a plastic mask with an elastic band. Oh, they were fire hazards, and they made us sweat like crazy, and we loved every single minute of it. The eyes of the mask never lined up right, so vision was very limited. There was a small slit for the mouth, and for some reason, it was fun to try to stick your tongue out of it, even though the plastic would cut your tongue. And there was no way you were going to win a costume contest in a Ben Cooper costume, but nobody cared. I was only lucky enough to get a Ben Cooper costume once in my life. It was when I was in 2nd grade. And I definitely remember it was Smurfette. Now in 1979, a new costume line hit the market. To try to compete with Ben Cooper, these costumes tried to sell parents on the ease and the safety angle of using makeup instead of wearing a mask. However, the manufacturing company ceased operations in 1981. So this bit of costume history did not last long at all. But the memories have lasted a lifetime, so I could not exclude the Kooky Spooks from this video. Basically, it was a vinyl bib and a gigantic inflatable head of some weird unknown character that would be tied to your head. Kooky Spooks also had makeup to complete the ensemble. And the makeup did not apply well. It would dry out and crack, which they advertised that added to the spooky feel, but it was just not the best quality. The generic characters could not compete with all the licensed Ben Cooper characters. Now, we had the yellow Spacey Casey Kooky Spook costume, and if my memory serves me correctly, my mom bought it on clearance in 1979 for me to wear for Halloween 1980, and then one of my brothers wore it in 1981. And there is a photo somewhere of him wearing the costume, crying so bad because he had to wear it. And we still joke about that costume and that giant head to this day. This is the kind of costume that might get you beat up. Halloween Day was so exciting in elementary school. In the afternoon, we would all be allowed to put on our costumes and would have a costume parade and contest. And while we were parading around, a few moms or the room mothers would be decorating our classroom for a Halloween party. We would usually do some Halloween craft like tying a tissue paper over a Tootsie Pop or Charm Pop and then drawing eyes to create a ghost. Once the bell rang, we took off to get home. The clock was ticking and the time was almost here. Instead of trick-or-treating, Halloween parties were common for kids in middle and high school as well as college. Costumes, bobbing for apples, dancing. So many fun times and memories were made. Another popular thing for older kids was going to haunted houses. Now, they weren't the professional attractions with elaborate sets, animatronics, high-tech effects, and actors like they are now. In my small town, the JCs always did a haunted house. And it was usually in an abandoned building and totally DIY. But it was still so scary and thrilling. I love watching old safety PSAs. They are hilarious. We were taught a lot of things through fear tactics, and it seemed to work.
Scary creatures come out to prowl through every neighborhood. But here's the scariest monster of all. Do you know why? This little witch doesn't know it, but she's taking some frightening chances of being hurt. Maybe badly hurt.
That robot is Jeremy in his costume.
It's too big for me.
The people who live in my house like to take pictures of the children who come by.
Okay, we're gonna take a picture for a treat too. Everybody smile.
Would you like to come in? I have more treats inside.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
That's right. Say no thanks.
As soon as the sun set, it was on. A parent would go trick-or-treating with a very young child, but in elementary school, we typically traveled house to house as a big group of kids with no parent. We didn't have trunk or treats, and parents did not drive us house to house in a car or golf cart. We walked and walked and walked some more.
What's a wiener when you take out its inside?
What?
A Halloweener. Where does Dracula keep his money?
Where?
In a blood bank.
Here, have some candy.
We would go home when we were too tired or couldn't carry our bags or pillowcases of candy any longer. And what was really interesting is almost every single house had their porch light on, awaiting kids to ring their doorbell. And a lot of people were scared not to participate because of the fear of a trick. Older kids would set out to pull pranks and tricks by toilet papering houses, soaping windows, or egging houses or cars. Full-sized candy bars were the holy grail, and I believe that is still true today. There were a lot of the same candies. We didn't have all of the allergy concerns or teal pumpkins. The worst were those orange and black peanut butter taffy things. When you got home, it was a whole event to dump out your candy, sort your candy, determining the value and what you wanted to trade.
You see, some people think it's fun to play tricks with your treats.
But despite all the joy and excitement, there was a shadow that loomed over our trick-or-treating adventures. The fear that our beloved candy might be tainted with razor blades, needles, or even drugs. And this fear was fueled by urban legends and media hysteria that led to this phenomenon that many Gen Xers remember all too well: the X-ring of Halloween candy. The fear of tainted Halloween candy can be traced back to a few isolated incidents that were completely blown out of proportion by the media. And hospitals would welcome kids to come and have their candy X-rayed. True story. In essence, Halloween today is safer, more organized, and highly influenced by pop culture and technology. But the core spirit of the holiday, the creativity, community, and a love for all things spooky remains strong. We didn't have GPS trackers, cell phones, or curated Instagram feeds, or photo shoots of us in our Pinterest perfect costumes. But we had each other, we had vivid imaginations, and so many adventures. So here's to the Halloweens of yesteryear, to the plastic mask, the homemade costumes, the pillowcase candy hauls, and the memories that still make us smile. May we never forget the magic, and may we always pass it on to the next generation. Happy Halloween!